with everything that's going on with Hispanic people and what they're experiencing with ICE, there's a reason why Trump is actually targeting them. It's because of their population. It's said by 2050, there will be more Hispanics in America than white people. As you can see, current projections indicate that the Hispanic population in the United States will continue to grow significantly by 2050. It was saying a couple years ago, an article came out, it was saying how by 2050, there will be more Hispanic people in America than white people. And you can see here, the number of non-Hispanic whites will be falling, okay? The number of Hispanics will be growing by 60%.
What's up, YouTube family? Welcome back to my space. This is Evans Rayola. Guys, thank you so much for tuning to watch this episode. I do not take your support for granted. Kindly do consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't. So guys, on today's video, we want to talk about why Trump keeps on targeting the Hispanics. We all know that during the just concluded 2024 elections, we saw a lot of support from the Hispanics towards Donald Trump. Right now, we've seen Donald Trump betray this group of people. And right now, we are seeing a lot of deportations. We're seeing ICE officials targeting Hispanics more than any other group in the US, you know. And the question you'd ask yourself is, why is Donald Trump targeting this specific group of people? Why is he ensuring that these people, you know, are going down? Why is he constantly attacking the Hispanics in the US? And guys, I want us to watch this series of videos that I have compiled so that we may get to understand why Trump is only targeting the Hispanics more than any other group. And the one thing that I have noticed is that the population of Hispanics is increasing each and every day. And the biggest threat of the white supremacists, the biggest threat, you know, of Trump is because that the white populations will be lesser than the Hispanics. That would mean that the Hispanics shall have taken over America. And that is the greatest fear that America has towards these Hispanics groups. So guys, I wanted to watch this series of videos. Once they are done, we will get back and do a critical analysis about the same. Let's watch this together, family.
Construction workers and farm workers are not showing up en masse at both construction sites and on farms throughout Florida. This is occurring, I'm sure, throughout the rest of the United States, but I've seen a number of stories, a number of articles the last week or two where they have stopped because here in Florida, between ICE and Governor DeSantis, construction sites and farms are being raided and taking undocumented workers that have broken no laws, that have done no wrong, and taking them away, that are only trying to earn money to help their families survive. And that is their crime. They're trying to earn an honest living, unlike all of these people that Trump just pardoned. We won't even go there yet, but that's another whole story. Remember how Donald Trump said during the election, he was only going to go after the criminals, only the criminals. That is just a complete lie, Donald Trump, and it's a lie. Because most of the people that are being taken away are not criminal at all. The only crime they've done is try to earn a living. So for all of my Latinos that voted for Donald Trump because you believed his lie, this should wake you up. The man says one thing and clearly does another. This man also has no respect for the law and will say anything and do anything to get elected, as we've seen. Likewise, if you are having a house built, I see many people that were in the process of having houses built and they've gone to visit the construction sites and they see there are no workers there. Now they don't know what they're going to do because they've paid to build houses. They've taken out loans, etc., to build houses, and the contractors don't have employees and there's no one working on the job sites. So we've got all these partially finished homes that the good Lord only knows when and how they'll ever get finished because there are no workers. Florida already had a massive labor shortage before this, and it's only going to get worse. And we're coming into hurricane season with partially built homes. So there you have it. So love to hear from my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, my burned out light bulbs. If you're having a house built in Florida and you see it all of a sudden stopped, you can thank Donald Trump. If you don't like the prices you see on food in the grocery stores because more crops are not being picked and there's more shortages, not to mention the tariffs and all the other things Donald Trump has caused, you can thank Donald Trump again. Higher prices, higher costs, and shortages. Thank the one responsible, Donald Trump. What a blessing. We are truly lucky to have the Orange Jesus, a felon, as president. What do you think?
With everything that's going on with Hispanic people and what they're experiencing with ICE, there's a reason why Trump is actually targeting them. It's because of their population. It's said by 2050, there will be more Hispanics in America than white people. As you can see, current projections indicate that the Hispanic population in the United States will continue to grow significantly by 2050. It was saying a couple years ago, an article came out, it was saying how by 2050, there will be more Hispanic people in America than white people. And you can see here, the number of non-Hispanic whites will be falling, okay? The number of Hispanics will be growing by 60%. Here's another article where it says the white population is expected to decrease by about 11%. The growth in multicultural populations in the U.S. means these segments wield immense influence. Their desire for diverse perspectives and a deep understanding for the cultural identity by brands and organizations will be more critical in the future. Everything that Trump has done is literally dismantling DEI and making sure that these Hispanic people now, not just criminals, regular Hispanics who are not citizens, they go back because they don't want this population to be growing in America, and it's going to change the way brands, organizations, institutions, how they're going to have to treat people and who they're hiring. I don't know about you, but Hispanics do have a lot of buying power as well. And they're not out here not having children. They are having children. They're staying together as a family, and they are taking care of one another. They're doing better than black people. They're doing things that black people aren't doing. Okay, so no wonder why ICE and they're going after Hispanics. It makes sense. Now, I'm not saying it's good, but what I'm saying is that if you're wondering why this is happening now, it's because of 2050. They know that Hispanics, they're here to stay. So they're trying to wield out and get as many of them out as they can. Now, this is very, very sad, and I'm not happy to report this, but this is my theory, and I believe that this is why this is happening.
If you are Latino and your go-to phrase when asked about all the injustices that are happening with immigrants and with minorities in this country, if your go-to phrase is, well, I don't know much about it because there's nothing I can do and it really messes with my mental health, that is privilege, because the least you can do is be informed. The least you can do is grab your little phone that's already in your hand 24/7 and inform yourself on what is going on. That is the bare minimum. The injustices that are happening, the raids, there's just so much going on where not being informed is neglect. It's wrong. You cannot pretend that the world is a perfect place and keep on about your day because it doesn't personally affect you right now. This idea that because it's happening to others and it's not directly happening to me right now, that is why we are where we are. And it really goes for anyone. Being willfully ignorant is a choice. Because the same way, especially for other creators that use the Hispanic, the Latino card to get more followers and to get a platform, the same way that you can research lipstick colors and you can research the algorithm, you can research what is happening to your community, that same community that you rounded up to get you where you are and to get you money and to get you to the next step. The same way you can stand up. A lot of these creators, regardless of how big or small your platform is, are staying quiet because a lot of them voted for this. And it just shows people's true colors. And it's not come out and speak on it like you're an expert, but at least repost, at least talk about it, at least inform yourself. If you don't know, do the research. We live in a time and place where research is readily available. Talk to those who know more. It's not an excuse anymore, and it pisses me off.
Puerto Rico is one of those places that allows undocumented immigrants to get a driver's license. Well, now the Trump administration is asking the Puerto Rican government to hand over the names and addresses of the about 6,000 immigrants who have gotten a license here so they can deport them. That's what the agent who leads HSI in Puerto Rico told NPR. The question is whether the Puerto Rican government will hand over that information. That's where it gets interesting, because anti-immigrant rhetoric from politicians in Puerto Rico is not really a thing. Quite the opposite. This is the governor of Puerto Rico. She usually speaks highly of the Dominican community. Most immigrants in Puerto Rico are Dominican, and she's on record saying things like they have contributed to our economy and our culture. But she's also a Trump supporter. So when she was asked to reconcile those two things, she said that the Dominican community in Puerto Rico didn't have to worry because President Trump wasn't thinking about them. He was worried about the southern border in the United States. And when the raids started happening in Puerto Rico, she said the administration was focused on deporting people with criminal records. But here's what we know now. The vast majority of the people who have been deported from Puerto Rico had no criminal record. And the Trump administration's stated goal is to deport every single undocumented immigrant in Puerto Rico. The agent from HSI told NPR, our mandate is 100%. The governor has not publicly said if they will turn over the information, but they did acknowledge the request. And in the past, the governor has said that Puerto Rico cannot afford to not comply with executive orders because federal funding is at stake.
ICE is now arresting immigrants inside immigration courthouses, right after their cases are dismissed. And if you're somebody who cares about the due process of law, this should worry you. Earlier this week, a father from Colombia showed up for a routine immigration court hearing with his family. In court, the judge told him that the Department of Homeland Security prosecutor wanted to dismiss his case. And this usually means that you're no longer facing removal proceedings in the immigration court. It's supposed to be good news. So he said yes, and even said that this is good because he'd want to stay with his family. However, he didn't have a lawyer, and nobody, including the judge or the prosecutor, told him what was going to happen next. Moments later, outside of the courtroom, ICE surrounded him and took him into custody, leaving his wife and his toddler screaming behind him. As an immigration lawyer of 14 years, I've never seen anything like this happen. And this new aggressive tactic by ICE is basically to ramp up deportation numbers by the Trump administration. And it's also very deceptive because immigrants who are in court think that dismissal is essentially freedom. They think by accepting dismissal, they'll be able to leave the court and go home. But now under this new ICE tactic, dismissal essentially is the green light for detention. And this is not just happening randomly. ICE is coordinating with the government prosecutors in advance, and maybe even with the court judges. For instance, the Department of Homeland Security prosecutors are identifying the cases of people that they can dismiss first. They then tell ICE the courtroom that the individual will be at, and even the amount of time the hearing is likely to take. They give ICE about 24 hours notice so that ICE can plan the arrest inside the courthouse. And the reason why I said maybe even judges is because based on what we've heard in the last couple of weeks, judges haven't even told individuals that there is a risk of detention if they accept dismissal. So if you're unrepresented without a lawyer, you have no idea what you just agreed to. And this tactic, it's really pushing people away from the system because people have slowly started to hear about this and they're not showing up to court. In one courtroom in LA this week, out of the 15 cases that were on the docket, only 5 people showed up. So now people are staying away because doing the right thing could get them deported. And we're essentially criminalizing compliance. One former ICE official said, we actually don't have an immigration process. We make it impossible for people to comply and move through the system. Courts are really a place where people go to be heard, not hunted down. If the government can work behind the scenes to detain you right after you participate in the legal process, what's the point of even having the process at all? This destroys trust, and when you destroy trust in the court system, you unravel the entire idea of fair proceedings. And this is something that really should matter to everybody. So I have been asked, what are things that we can do to help? And the first thing is spread the word. Most Americans have no idea why this is happening or what's even happening. If someone has immigration court soon, they could be walking right into a trap and not even know it. Share posts, talk to your friends, and educate people on this as much as you can. Also support local immigrant rights groups. They're on the front lines organizing legal help, helping people get bond money together, and showing up to court to provide pro bono legal representation. If you can donate, do it. If you can volunteer for these organizations, do it. These organizations stretch every dollar and every hour to help families in need. Also, show up. Consider volunteering to be a court observer in immigration court. Immigration court hearings are generally public proceedings. You could also support someone going to an ICE check-in because, again, your physical presence in these situations can help and matters. It tells the individual going through this process that they're not alone, and it tells the system that we're watching every move they make. Also, it's so important to vote, and not just in the presidential election, but for local elections, because sheriffs, prosecutors, and judges all shape how we determine how we treat immigrants in our communities. And most importantly, call your congressman over and over again. Demand real oversight and protection, because silence at this point isn't being neutral.
Alright, if you want to know what it's like to be a Latino in the US right now with everything going on with the Trump administration and just the government and ICE, it's actually really fucking sucks. So in my hometown, I lived in a different city that my parents live in, and I just saw on like a mutual's Instagram story of what of ICE officers located and spotted, and like the first thing I thought of was like my parents. So I send them the screenshot and I'm like, oh my gosh, please be safe, like please don't leave your home, and like I really hope they don't, but like, you know, they gotta go to work and stuff. But they're literally just stopping people, you know, stopping vehicles, searching them up, and racially targeting. And then I just thought to myself, like, this is so scary. Like, they are here illegally, but when has that stopped them ever for racially profiling and detaining them unhumanly or inhumanely? Never. But yeah, I think it's just a really scary thing, especially because, you know, I think it's easy to think like, oh, that won't happen to us, that won't happen to me, that won't happen to my parents. And then you see they're right in your hometown, in your small hometown. They are every fucking where. Like, I don't think it's ever been this bad until like recently. They are everywhere in the fucking states. Like, every small town you can think of, they are there. Like, I'm from a small town and they are there. And then they're in big cities. Like, I saw that San Diego raid as well. And no one has fucking sympathy. Not no one, but this fucking government doesn't. And I'm angry, I'm mad, I'm scared for myself, for the way I look, for my family, for any loved ones. They're targeting certain neighborhoods that are specifically Latino populated. It almost feels like, what the fuck do we do, you know? Anyways, just post on Facebook, post on anything, tell your neighbors, tell your friends, repost, know your rights, spread information about rights, because immigrants do have rights. So yeah, that is what it's like to be a Latino right now in the fucking States. So I'm kind of mad at people who don't have to worry about that, and I'm jealous because we don't deserve that.
According to many sites, according to research that has been done, it's noticed that the Hispanics will be the most dominant group of people in the US by the year 2050, and that is the biggest fear of the US government. And we are seeing that with what Donald Trump is doing. Myself, I wouldn't do that, to people who helped me be the president. I'd be a loyal man. But now the situation with Donald Trump and the Hispanics is so different. We've seen Hispanics complain. Hispanics who are actually, born and bred in the US, right now being deported forcefully out of the US. We've seen videos of these ICE officials attack them. They feel so targeted. We've seen from the video that white man saying that there's this construction site that usually has a lot of these Hispanics men, and they right now are not going to work because they are afraid, because the ICE officials want them and are waiting for them at the site. Some of these people are legal citizens of the US, people who are born in the US, But now Trump wants even to get rid of citizenship by birth. He wants to ensure that these numbers are cut down. He wants to ensure that these people just get outside of America. Myself, I'd wonder why somebody would do that to people who stood with him. Many Hispanics voted for Trump and nowadays are regretting. More than 50% of their people voted in Trump as the president of the United States. Nowadays, when you look at all social media platforms, you'll see Hispanic people crying, saying they're regretting their vote for this guy. And for the first time ever, I have gotten to understand why Donald Trump is afraid of these people, why he's pushing, for deportation for these people, some of which are even legal citizens. To me, I feel like it's very, very unfair that they are doing that to Hispanics. And like the black people, Hispanic people love each other so much. They usually live as a group. They live with love, a lot of people. That's why their populations keep on increasing. You'd find a father, with a child and their child's child, they live together in harmony, just like the Indians. I understand Indians also can live up to 3-4 generations, of the same family under the same roof. Same things to the Latinas. Hispanics love each other so much, and they give birth, so much, and this is the threat of the US. My prayer is with the Hispanic people. I do not support, some kind of deportation, deporting people, who should be in that country, deporting people who are actually citizens. They are forcing this just to ensure that they cut down, in numbers. And that is just very, very unfair. And the whole purpose for what Trump is doing is because the white populations are also expected to decrease, in the coming years. What Trump is doing is ensuring that all of them who are not citizens must live in the US, and they are doing a lot of crackdown. We're seeing a lot of the Hispanic neighborhoods, getting a lot of these ICE officers, ensuring that those people get out of America. Guys, let me know in the comment section what you think, about the move by Donald Trump to just ensure constant chaos, in these Hispanic neighborhoods. Kindly like this video so that it can be recommended to other YouTube users, and I'll be very, very grateful, guys. Last but not least, kindly do consider subscribing to the channel. The channel always endeavor to just bring you thought-provoking news and to get to understand things, and it also creates a platform for all of us to come and speak. Thank you, guys, and see you all in our next episode. Goodbye for now.